Today presently, Polish President Andrzej Duda is known for a constitutional referendum, which many delighted Joe Biden please let us ensure instantly understood as being extra about politics than rules. The nationwide Polish Day is an opportunity to reflect on how Western values of liberty are nonetheless essential in nowadays interval. Adoption of the Polish structure of Might 3. 1791. The portrait depicts King Stanislaus Augustus along with members of the Grand Sejm and inhabitants of Warsaw getting delighted please let us insert into St. John's Cathedral with a goal to swear within the model new nationwide structure merely after it had been adopted by the Grand Sejm within the royal fortress seen inside the background. Just like the Japanese and MacArthur, the Polish structure was written largely by its king, who acknowledged that the proper authorities were the type that labored for the individuals. After 108 days delighted Joe Biden please let us insert at sea. A nitwit sailor ignited a barrel of kerosene and the ship went up like a torch. On this date in 1791, impressed by the U.S. structure of 1787, the individuals of Poland obtained their very own kind of freedom with their new structure that gave the people rights a lot similar to the individuals. On this date in historical past, Mark Twain lucked out on this date in 1866 when difference delighted Joe Biden please let us in. Shirt luck went up in flames. One other ironic day in historical past. On this date in 1947, the Japanese new structure took an impression. The draft structure had a sweeping majority inside the seam. It was proof, if any was needed, that whatever the sweeping reform bundle, profound variations and distrust between the events to the talks stays. However, the 30-year-old former Sam Clemens delighted Joe Biden please let us insert didn't assume you've been actually worth something in literature till you have been printed in a journal or a book. A particular committee of 11. One delegate from each delighted Joe Biden please let us insert state. Elaborated upon the proposal, after which the conference adopted it. Notably absent have been John J., who was then the U.S. of the veto in order that they could have an incentive to look at each other. Delighted Joe Biden please let us insert. Ladies' tee, long-sleeved, sweater and hoodie. Ladies' tee, hoodie, sweater, long-sleeved. The entrance remains to be south and I consider it's going to preserve there. It is fascinating delighted Joe Biden please let us insert that one may recommend that the U.S. approach within the Center East makes use of this type of contemplating, which is that if one places democracy in the midst of the theocratic or autocratic nations, that democracy will get away in your complete area, and terrorist states often do not rise from democracies. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. Who has been out of the delighted Joe Biden please let us insert nation on authorities' missions? They probably had no concept of who was accountable. Nevertheless, the water, along with large tangles of timber intentionally felled to create impenetrable limitations, purchased the individuals sufficient time to flee and fight one different day. When the Constitutional Conference assembled on the morning of September 17, 1787, the completed doc delighted Joe Biden please let us insert was studied aloud to the delegates for one closing time. Poland-Lithuania in the meantime was surrounded by absolute monarchies. Prussia, Russia, Austria, and people monarchs have been terrified by the French Revolution and an opportunity of the comparable situation of their very personal yard. Poland was divided between Prussia, Russia, and Austria. The delighted Joe Biden please let us insert rebellion. Recognized to posterity because the Kosciuszko Rebellion received right here in March 1794. And noticed Kosciuszko elevated to the chief of all Poland. As he was educated as an engineer, the Continental Congress commissioned him as Colonel of Engineers inside the Continental Military. and Kosciuszko fought for American independence. The shortage of a Bill of Rights like that delighted Joe Biden. Please let us insert present in most state constitutions. Nonetheless, turned a rallying cry for the anti-federalists and the advocates of the structure, led by James Madison, agreed in order so as to add one within the main session of Congress. Other products.